Welcome back, everyone, to Career Lab by Coach 360. Thank you for joining us. Hope you all enjoyed lunch. I am very proud to lead our next panel conversation. We have some very esteemed and dear friends on the stage with me. We have Eloisa Texan. She is the CEO and founder of E20. She is also the CEO of LWI Lindora. Fonda Sproles, he's a senior vice president of talent and recruiting at Lifetime. And then we, of course, welcome back to the stage, we have Luke Milton, who is the CEO and founder of Training Mates. So let's begin with this conversation. I'm going to have a seat here. We're going to talk about navigating the path to fitness, business, and leadership, coach to leader. We're going to start with a question first, and I'm going to have Eloisa answer this question. From your perspective, what signals a coach is ready to take on a leadership role?
Such a great question. All right, let's do a quick little reset here. Raise your hand if you are a coach. Oh my God, I should have done the other way around. Raise your hand if you're not a coach right now. Okay, now also I'm curious, how many of you are interested in possibly growing inside your organization as a leader or becoming a business owner? Okay, cool. I think we got some more people. They're just a little shy. So the question here is, I think y'all are going to have a really exciting panel here today. A couple of things, but I think the general theme here is collective output. So if I'm having a conversation with one of my coaches, and I see that there's an inkling of potential for them to become a leader. Really, leadership is actually natural, right? It's something that you have inside yourself, even if that means that you don't know for yourself. So when I'm trying to assess my team and my talent, I actually start to take a look at little tiny behaviors and actions that they're performing for their team. Are they naturally trying to mentor others? Are they trying to actually grow and enhance their skill set? Are they actively trying to pursue different learning opportunities? And then the other big piece here is, could they become a business owner themselves? Do they have the ability to be able to track and retain their own clients? Because if I'm trying to understand if one of my coaches has a potential to become a leader, I have to think of them as an extension of me as the owner. I have to think of me as an extension of the brand. And at the end of the day, when we're trying to create longevity in our business, it relies on longevity of our customers. So having the ability to be able to attract and retain your own clientele is, of course, going to be a good signal for leadership.
Repeat the question, please.
What a question.
Of course. From your perspective, what signals a coach is ready to take on a leadership role?
There was a table over here, a couple of you raised your hand. What would your response be to that question? And I asked that for a particular reason. I remember attending a lot of seminars in my day coming up in the business, and would sit back and have kind of my response or thought about what I would say to that. So I'm wondering, would any of you out there have a response to that question? Go ahead. Stop there. And so this isn't science for me. It's very intuitive. She made a great comment. It's how are you acting now? Is it about you or is it about others? For me, it's all about EQ, and he knows that. The acumen is going to be a given, the business acumen. The big part for Lifetime, the big part for me, absolutely is EQ all day long. When you think about the industry that we're not in the fitness business. This is how we talk at Lifetime. We're in the people business. What skill do I need to sharpen? I need to sharpen my people skill. What industry are we in, and what skill do we need to sharpen? I'm in the hospitality space. People skills are essential. It can't be about you. If it's about you, it won't be a great fit for you at Lifetime. No question about it. That's what I have, Al.
And Luke?
Yeah, thanks, Al, and thanks very much. I think that that's really important to start to acknowledge that we're not always in the industry that the sign on the building says, right? I think of fitness as a human connection business, and I think human connection is a thing that almost is extinct. And I think that if you can really specialize in human connection, you're going to be phenomenal at what you do. So to answer your question directly, I think that understanding that you're, as an individual, ready to go from trainer to manager, manager to supervisor, supervisor to owner, whatever it is, when you start demonstrating the skills that there is a bigger cause out there than yourself, when you start to actually serve people and put people, not necessarily before yourself, but actually understanding that people's benefit is of utmost importance, then you're starting to get a little bit bigger than yourself, right? And that's what leadership is actually seeing the bigger picture. And I would also like to add on to as well, when I will think someone's ready for a promotion or leadership, when they start to show initiative, I think that sometimes as industries evolve and as careers are sometimes shorter in different things than what they used to be, longevity in a particular company role is not as long as it used to be just from the data. When someone shows initiative and shows what they can do instead of what they get, that's when you give a lot more as an owner, a manager, or whatever else. And so taking initiative is a real key indicator to me that the person is ready to go up in the company. And especially what you were saying, Fonda, was understanding that all of the benefits of leadership are a result of doing the work, right? So do the work, understand that you're there for a bigger purpose, understand what your why is, show whoever you need to show for a promotion, show them that, don't expect to be given it, and also don't expect that they know that. Like, go out there and talk to them about what your plans are, what your role is, and then the business stuff, what you said, the business stuff, please don't overcomplicate business. It is the easiest thing in the world. What's not easy is being a great person that serves others, that's continually looking to evolve, step up, level up, and be themselves. And that's what it takes for me. I just think show me that you can be a leader and I'll reward you tenfold every day.
Yeah, so Luke, you talked about leadership, and then you mentioned a very important word, service and serving. Fonda and I, and I'm going to direct this question to you, Fonda, we've talked about recruiting from hospitality schools because you can train someone in this industry, but hospitality is inherent to somebody's inner characteristic.
I'm chopping at the bit to get in on this one now.
Shout out to Cornell. So, Fonda, my question to you is, as a leader, you're always recruiting. What are the most critical aspects when you are recruiting to fill those key positions?
People skills. I don't want to overemphasize it. I accidentally recruited a guy yesterday. I'm on Sunset Boulevard having breakfast. I can't turn it off. And what I can't turn off is that ability to spot talent. I can see it. And I'm watching this guy's interaction at the counter with the server. He happens to be a trainer. I'm right across from Equinox. Can't turn it off. He had to be a part of Lifetime. Why? And he didn't know it because of our mission statement, the way it's aligned. He's demonstrating the characteristics that I seek, that I want to go after, that I want to hunt. It's how he's treating that server. And then think about how he must be treating his guests, his clients. So what Al was talking about a little earlier, I talk about hospitality often. There's a book that's called Unreasonable Hospitality. It's next level. Unreasonable Hospitality talks about the difference between service and hospitality. Service is a skill. I can teach you the skill of swiping cards and saying, thank you, ma'am. No, sir. Yes, sir. Hospitality is a spirit. Service is a skill. Hospitality is a spirit. I have to cast for that. I have to find that. And when I find it, I want to hire it. And then I want it to replicate it over and over again. So those are the things you want to look for by trying to find individuals. And you're thinking about, we don't call it hiring, we call it casting. Think about, we happen to be in Hollywood now, aren't we? So when you think about casting for a movie, you think about Braveheart. Who else could have played that role besides Mel Gibson? That's casting, finding that right fit for that right role. So hospitality is key. So it's going back again to people skills. I don't want to overemphasize that, but I do. I think far too often we skill up on acumen and we forget to bring in that people, that humanistic standpoint to what it is that we get to do.
Thank you, Fonda. Luke?
Yeah, I think going on again, relatability and likability, big things that we sort of really look for. The human aspect, I really want everyone to understand what Fonda's saying there, because I think sometimes you go, yeah, that's so obvious. But it's simple in saying it, it's really difficult to execute. So when we're looking for leaders, when we're looking for people to level up and step up, and I'm not putting words into your mouth, but I actually was about to apply for Lifetime after that speech. So this is really good because it is really, really important.
I've seen your skills already.
I'm all in. I think I'm aging out, but no. But it's like, it is looking for that secret sauce. How did that person interact with people at the cafe that you're at, whatever it is? Because the one thing that we're losing in society, right, which is the most simple thing ever, is customer service. We're just in the service of customers. We just got to serve people. That's all you got to do. It's really, really simple. Richard Branson built $6 billion companies in different industries off the back of a smile and customer service. No university degree, no secret sauce. It's just finding leaders that embody being a good person, that have a smile, that have a glare in their eye, that brightens up when they see people, that has an energy about them as well. Like, let's not underestimate energy. Mark got up here before. I'm like, whoa, let's go. I wanted to run through a wall. If you don't have energy, mate, you are 3 feet away from dying. Energy. Be a person that other people want to be around, be relatable, be likable. And now I'm just harping on, but I don't want to underestimate what Fonda just said there is like personal service, like being a person of service and being a good person, that is a skill in of itself. And it sounds so obvious, but it's really simple, not easy. Yeah.
So, Alois, I want you to dive deeper into this question. And I want you, because you have a wide variety of responsibilities of all the locations that you manage, and now I'm super proud of her. She is expanding E20 across the country on the backs of a single successful model, and I'm just astounded by her ambition and her tenacity. But so with that said, you're building this national model. How do you ascertain who's going to be your leaders in your locations? Because that's so essential when you first enter a market.
Yeah, so first off, my goodness, you're way too kind to me. Thank you. I would say I couldn't agree more, right? Like being a good person, being authentic and genuine and kind goes such an incredibly long way. What I would add to this is you also have to ask yourself, what kind of experience and culture are you trying to create for your business? Because the values that you're setting for your brand, the team members that you're selecting to become leaders of your organization should be an extension of those values. So if you think about it, perfect example, how many of y'all have gone to an Orange Theory class? Yep, okay, how many have gone to a Barry's Bootcamp class? So you kind of see a little bit of a difference, right? At the end of the day, if you take an Orange Theory coach and a Barry's Bootcamp coach, they're both great people. They're very authentic, they're very kind, they have exceptional customer service skills, and they also bring the sense of energy and vitality to the room. However, the experience is very different. Why? Because the values and experience and culture that Orange Theory has created is completely different to the values and culture that Barry's has created. But it doesn't mean to say that one is better than the other. It's just a matter of leadership and the founders making a determination at the get-go of the type of experience they wanted to create. So how I take a look at my team, I would say that before we even started, we asked ourselves some pretty hard questions. They're hard questions, but they're very simple and easy questions at the same time, which is, what am I trying to do here? What problem am I looking to solve? What gap in the marketplace in terms of an experience and program and a workout do I feel like we have the ability to be able to create and serve? That in of itself was the foundation for us to understand what values we believed in, the type of culture we wanted to create. And as I'm assessing my talent, as I'm assessing my team, I'm finding those behaviors. I'm finding those traits of how they're embodying these values. And those are the ones that I want to lean into and really develop to become a leader.
So as a leader, and I'm humbled to be on the stage with amazing founders. And with that mindset, how do you prepare coaches to become leaders? Afonda.
With that mindset, we do have what's called at Lifetime. We have 57,000 team members. We do what's called calibration. And so from a calibration standpoint, when you get onboarded at Lifetime, we ask you during your process, kind of, what do you want to be when you grow up? You want to be Mickey, Minnie, Goofy? What role do you want to have? And we start going towards that from a calibration standpoint. You'll have an opportunity, once that talent card is filled out, you'll have an opportunity to talk about the role, the direction you want to go in. Now at Lifetime, we're bigger, we're a club. So I've got real estate, I've got construction, I've got architect division. So it's all in-house. Our CEO designs our buildings. And so it's and we're not a gym, it's a full-blown resort. We do some of you may know, we do these ecosystems. So we build luxury apartments, attach them to the athletic club with the co-station, a co-op workstation. So you can have your apartment there, your office there, your club. So it's all encompassing in and of itself. But that's what you have the opportunity to do is we do calibration. We want to see more team members because we do have a particular unique culture that we want to try to indoctrinate. And I talk about hiring and casting individuals and dipping them in the Kool-Aid. Al knows I talk often about our culture, our mission statement. We started Lifetime in 1992. I've been with the founder 41 years. So we had aging myself, but we had our Bally's clubs in the early 80s. And then we started Lifetime in 1992. And then we wrote the mission statement in 1997. That still drives us today. That's our North Star. That's that differentiator. So I have a song that's usually played when I do my walkout song, and it's Kendrick Lamar. And that song is Not Like Us. It is not meant to be cocky or arrogant. It talks about the delta. It talks about the difference between a Lifetime and anything else. Not that we're better than, just that we're different than. And it's a strong culture that we drive. Calibration is real. Growing up in our organization is real. We need leaders. I'm opening 14 more clubs this year. Average cost is $65 million. 14 more this year, then 15 next year. So that's a lift. When you start thinking about each club, about 250 to 300 people per club. We need leaders. But leaders come from within, I feel, and it's a matter of also thinking about that why. When folks usually come to me and say, I want to be a general manager, or actually we call them lead generals now, I want to be a leader, that first question comes out, he mentioned it earlier, is why? Why do you think you want to become a leader? And I think it should start there, but that's how we do it through a calibration standpoint. So thank you for the question.
Right on. I knew you'd have one for us. Luke.
So just so I'm clear, what do we do to get people ready to become leaders from within the company, or when we look at, So I think number one is getting really clear on what your values are and make sure that they align. I believe as a CEO, my job is to actually put the vision out there and put a plan of what we're going to do. And then the team's job is to go and execute that, right? So making sure that our values align, because if the leader's values don't align with the rest of the team, you're just going to be hitting your head against the wall anyway. And likewise, if you've got people in your team with talent identification that are already in there that may not have the right degree, that may not have the right experience, but they align with your values to create as many healthy lifestyles as possible. They align with your personal values, be a good person, show up on time, do all the right things. Then all of a sudden, I think you've got a recipe for success. So we look for people that share the values, and that's when we believe that they are ready to be a bigger part of the organization. And then also, the hardest part for me in this was realizing you cannot want it for a person more than they want it for themselves. And if they do really want it and their why aligns, and I want to talk a little bit more about why, but if they do really want it, and what I mean by want it, they show up on time or early, they're in uniform, they're proud of the brand that you've created, they embody the values and the principles that you stand by, they want to be of service, all of those things, the rest of it is easy to teach. And then if they're like, our why is genuinely to make people's lives better. I know it sounds so simplistic, but if you don't want to, I'm not saying that's wrong. I'm just saying it's not going to work. And resumes, not to be a dick, but I throw them away now.
I don't hardly look at resumes.
You don't, right? Because I have interviewed so many people to this point, and I don't have a great resume. I certainly didn't have a great resume, right?
ChatGPT does a great job.
No, 100%. But it's like what we are on paper is not what we are in person. And strive to be a great person in person, and that's going to get you so much further along. So we look for people that align with our values, that embody our values, and then go out there and actually live the values. So that's what it takes at Training Mate to really start to move up that leadership group. And I agree exactly what you said, Afonda, not to monopolize the situation. Your best talent already works with you. Yep. And give them the opportunity to be better than you. I started this company 13 years ago by myself with a smell of an oily rag, which just means, again, we just didn't have any money. But we built it off pure labour. And now I would say 90% of our team are better than me at what we do and at building the business and at going out there and doing it and finger on the pulse. And the thing that I'm most proud of is not the accolades of Training Mate and the celebrities and that sort of stuff. It's the fact that we've built a team that has taken this company way further than I thought it ever could have gone, and way further than it could have gone with just me involved in it. So trust your team, believe in your team, give your team every resource and training that they need to be better than you, be vulnerable, have a mindset of abundance, not scarcity. The person that comes from beneath you can absolutely take you to heights that you've never even thought of. Don't think that they're taking from you. With all of those skills and attributes, promote, and reward them as much as you can.
Yeah, thank you, Luke. Aloysia, so Luke brings a good point. With the evolution of ChatGPT, we can create the most pointed and effective resumes. How do you ascertain and differentiate action versus what's just on paper?
I would say consistency is key, right? At the end of the day, when you're trying to understand if somebody is going to be a good leader for your team, yes, they're going to say probably a million different reasons as to why they deserve that position. But the reality of it is you're just going to have to actually see for yourself. And are they consistently performing these behaviors? Are they consistently trying to make conscious decisions that are for the betterment of your clients and for the betterment of the business? And one note I did want to add to the last question, because I think it's very important. And I think we actually almost overlook it as founders and as owners of our own businesses. People want to know that they're doing a good job. People want to know they're doing a good job. They want to know what it takes to put points on the board. They want to know what it means to actually be successful in their roles. What we find actually way too often is that We create success metrics that are very incredibly hard and difficult for us to be able to actually get to and to reach to. We don't typically tell and communicate our employees what success means in their roles. And then also, we don't develop them, right? People want to learn, even if they don't necessarily say it out loud. They want to learn, they want to grow, they want to understand new skills, they want to learn new skills. One thing that we've just taken a more conscious decision of is trying to create as many development opportunities for our team as possible, even if that means that they're not asking for it.
I'm going to go personal in this next round of questions because this room collectively has turned a lot of pain into purpose, which is probably why a lot of us are here. And that's one of Kathleen's favorite phrases. Turning this moment of adversity into a moment of transformation. So I'm going to start with Luke, and I know you alluded to it in your morning talk about walking into that gym that one day and everything was destroyed. Share with us your insights as a founder of turning that moment into an opportunity to display not only your leadership, but an opportunity for your team members to display their leadership.
Yeah, I don't want to put words in your mouth. I think sort of like, diamonds are made from pressure, right? And like, how do we act in adversity? And I like that plain. Look, there's a couple of things. If you didn't hear the speech this morning, I got asked from Tash what the lowest point was, and it was one of our studios over here through COVID got totally destroyed, and how do you rebuild that? That's on a business standpoint, right? And then how did the team get behind that and how they grow, and who showed up through adversity, right? It's like, it's really easy to show up to the $1,000 meal, right? It's really hard to go and hunt for your food, sit there, cook it, and eat it. So I only want people around me. Was it Conor McGregor says it? I don't know if that's a good example or bad, but if you're not prepared to starve with me, you're not welcome at my table to eat. And I think that that's really, really important when you go through adversity. One of the personal stories, so 18 years ago, I got hit by a car, hit and run, pronounced dead, broke neck, all that sort of stuff. My dad, and not to everyone starts crying in the conversation. So that there, you're done, right? Like that was the end of my rugby career. That was the end of a lot of things. And I'll cut the story short. It was harder on my dad than it was for me. But out of that, right, I had to sort of rehab myself, had to get back into it. Within 3 months, I'd proposed to my girlfriend, which was overdue. Within 6 months, we had moved to America and actually put Training Mate, which was just an outdoor boot camp, into a brick and mortar. So 12 months later, we start winning awards. Now, the reason I say that is that if that didn't happen, I don't know if Training Mate would have happened, and it certainly wouldn't have happened to the level that it's at now. Use adversity to build from. Don't let it break you down. I'm looking around, I'm looking at people nodding their heads. Everyone understands that there is a whole heap of pain in this world. I guarantee if I went around there and went around to everyone and I told you my problems and you told me mine, I would grab mine back, right? Because understanding that we don't know each other's stories, we don't know what you've been through. I have no idea what you guys have gone through, but I know that it doesn't define you. I know that whatever you've done, whatever has been done to you, I understand that each and every one of you can be better tomorrow than you are today, right? Off the back of that pain. So I know I've gone away from the question here, but I really want to make sure that everyone feels empowered that whatever is going on in your lives, whether it's been trauma, whether it's been wronged, there's a lot of sad stories out there, there really are. Use it to benefit yourself, use it to grow, and then from a company standpoint, you become really valuable. If you've been through adversity and you're not just there for the accolades and the awards, you've been through adversity and you've gotten through that and grown from it, you are a very valuable commodity. Way more than a resume will say. Right? A resume doesn't tell me about your car accident. A resume doesn't tell me about the horrific breakup. A resume doesn't tell me about a God-forbidden terrible thing that happened to your family. Right? But your work ethic, how you show up every day, that tells me you've been through a little bit of shit and you're still standing. And that's what we look for. We look for toughness. I see it in sports every day, right? It's not the person who was born into a rich family and got given everything in the world that makes a good athlete. That's why I love sports. You win or you lose. You know what I mean? You get your head kicked in every other day and you show up to play the game again the next week. You're crazy. You're out of your mind. But that's what life is. That's what business is. Business is actually having your butt handed to you every day and showing up the next day and making that diamond out of the pressure. So again, Al, I'll apologise for going off script there, but I just want everyone to understand that embrace adversity. Welcome all the shit that's in your life right now, because I guarantee you, I'll talk for myself, I don't want to put words in your mouth, you're way more valuable to us trying to take over the world and try and redefine what the fitness industry is. You're way more valuable to Training Mate having gone through that than having a really easy life that reads really well and you've never had any adversity and you sleep at 8 o'clock every night and wake up at 6 a.m. every morning and you put your dress on or your suit on and you look really great.
Holy cow.
Reminds me of high school. Yeah, enjoy your life, be who you are, embrace it, you're all valuable.
I'm going to add just 2 seconds to that. There's nothing like
You got it.
adversity.
You're on.
And it's just so true what he's talking about, adversity. Break. I talk about and think about my life. I'm a wrestler from Iowa. Diverse. I don't like a tie. I don't want to draw. I either won or I lost. And at the end of the day, you get better. Business is about making a series of mistakes, but rapid corrections. So when you think about how a plane flies by being handed off from signal to signal. By going in the wrong direction, it gets corrected, but it's rapid. It's rapid corrections. And so that's one of the things we have to talk about. There was a party several years ago, and our CEO was at this party. There were 2 girls that graduated from Wisconsin's business school. Smart girls, their dad was a member of our clubs, and they were like, hey, honey, by the way, that's Bahram Akradi. That's the founder of Lifetime. They just graduated business school. They couldn't wait to ask a question, and no, he's talking. I don't want to disrupt him. Let him go. They kept, Dad, please. And so finally he did. He said, hey, Mr. Akradi, excuse me, do you mind my daughters? And he loves that. And so they wanted to ask him a question. They were grabbing for a pad or napkin to write on, and it was so simple. They just said, what kind of business advice do you have for us? I mean, what can we learn from you? And he simply said, make mistakes quickly, rapidly. Don't try to be perfect. Don't try to be that type A personality. Get out there, but do it quickly in your career. Get them out there, get over it, get reps at it so you can make those quick, rapid decisions and you can have that fearless mentality and willing to try and dive in there again. We had our best moments during COVID. Some companies did, some didn't. But we had a chance to pivot at Lifetime. And that's, again, adversity that brought that on.
Yeah, thank you. But I'm going to come back to you on your personal moment of coming out from that mud into turning that pain into purpose. But Eloisa.
Okay, so I think since it's one other thing that I'll add to this is, yes, you have to be able to make rapid decisions, but there's also a part that is fascinating, what I'm trying to assess my team, and it's taking a sense of accountability and ownership. Because it's interesting, right? You sometimes put your leaders into a challenging situation. You give them some sort of challenge that they have to overcome. Yes, they might not make the best decision, but there are going to be a good chunk of them that aren't going to take ownership of it either, right? And that is a big judge of character. That's something that will absolutely flush through the ChatGPT resume cleanup. So ownership, you have to take accountability in every single action that you do. So whether right or wrong, right? I actually just had this conversation with one of my managers yesterday, and they asked me, Eloisa, like, yes, thank you so much for putting me in this role, but like, what if I mess up? And I go, okay, I hope you mess up and I hope you do something about it. What are you going to do afterwards? And the response was, well, I'd like to take ownership of it. And I go, great, you're going to be in the perfect position then. And you were the reason why we put you here.
Thank you, Eloisa. Now I'm going to share something with this group. Eloisa does ultra marathons. These are 100-mile races. She does them. She does them with such grace. During that mile 50, mile 60, that wall, how do you push through? And how do you translate that into being the leader that you are today?
Okay, yeah, so probably now you have a completely different perspective of who I am, probably thinking that, my gosh, this girl's psychotic. I have to tell y'all, putting yourself ultramarathons or whatever physical activity and endeavor that you do, first off, if you don't have one, do it, right? Whether it's a high rocks, training for a first 5K, half marathon or marathon, do something hard, okay? Do something hard, do something that you've never done before. The reason why I started to go through ultra marathons is because amidst all the other business challenges that I have to go through, I wanted to understand what it means to knowingly put yourself in a position where you're challenging yourself for every single step that you take. It applies very perfectly, honestly, when you're building a business because it's a challenge in of itself. But what I realized with ultra marathons is that every step that I took was a choice that I need to make for myself to keep pushing forward. The tiniest little step. So when I'm going through in the middle of the night and I've been running on 0 hours of sleep and it's like 2 a.m, pitch black, I'm by myself, the thing that goes through my mind is, One, I'm incredibly grateful to have the ability to be able to put myself into this position. And that applies honestly very perfectly into the business world. Whether you're a coach that's trying to understand whether or not you want to grow into your business, whether you are curious about whether or not you want to start your own brand, I think there's a lot of power behind just putting yourself in that position in the first place, because hardly anybody wants to be there, right? Because it's not easy.
Thank you. And we're going to wrap up with the last question for Afonda. And we've shared many recruiting stories. And I think those in this room can understand the difficulty in trying to recruit the right talent. Share with us a story of maybe one of your tougher recruiting assignments and how you overcame those objections on that particular recruit.
Well, Al knows I started in 2016. I started again, excuse me, a division at Lifetime called the Scouting Division. I came up through the company, personal trainer, running several different clubs, and this position became something that was just right in my sweet spot. And it was about acquiring talent. The best talent is working at the end of the day. They're not filling out applications, they're working. The best ones are in a lane, they're in their place. And somehow, some way, there's got to be a disruption that happens that comes into place that allows me to do what I call the 3 C's, coffee, culture, connection. And so it's not about having individuals fill out application, it's about recruiting, like the gentleman I did at Sunset yesterday morning. And so the difficulty was with this individual that I met, we were having a coffee conversation, but it was about getting him to buy into the change from where he's currently at and into Lifetime. And one of the things that I find to be that delta, to be that difference maker, is the why. Going back to asking him the question, I'm an ENFJ. I'm a protagonist, if you think about my personality profile. Mission-driven all day long, strong faith, high integrity. Not talking about being perfection, but just talking about my value system. So that's key. And so having this conversation with this individual about the difference between the two and talking about the mission, his why. He's been at this place 8 years, didn't even know the mission statement of the company. And I said, man, you think about how there's 100 hours in a week. How many of those hours are you given to a place that you don't really know what they value now? And so you really have to think about your alignment. You have a personal brand, whether you know it or not. Whether you know it or not, you have a personal brand, and it's what others say about you. Now, sometimes you can be smoking your own exhaust and think you've got a great brand, or you can really ask those that know you, Mom, what's my brand? Best friend, what's my brand? So that being said, I was having a series of conversation with him about peeling that onion back, and that got that individual to want to move. He talked about how he used to feel this way years ago when he started with this particular company. But it wasn't about the team members anymore. It wasn't about him anymore. It was about the company at that particular point in time. And so when you're making that shift, that it really has got to be about you. And so for me, it was about connecting with that individual and just building trust. At the end of the day, they got to buy you before they're willing to buy what it is you're selling or what company it is you want them to go to. And then the values in that company and that organization need to align and line up. Don't chase money. Let money chase you. Let that marinate for a second. Don't chase money. Let money chase you. The things I talk about in Lifetime, a lot of you are familiar with the golden rule. I started what's called the platinum rule. The golden rule is what? To treat people how you want to be treated. The platinum rule takes it to another level, and that came when I started the first Lifetime Athletic Club in 2000 in Minneapolis, Minnesota. And that is treat people how they want to be treated, not how you want to be treated. I may not want to be treated how Al's treated. I like to be left alone when I work out. Al likes people to talk to him when he works out. Well, how do you know that? By watching them, paying attention to them, and then giving it back to them in doses on what they like. That's how you start building that relationship. So long way around to get back to the point. The point is value-based. So for me, it was having that conversation, getting him to buy into what it is I was selling in short.
Thank you, Fonda. Thank you, Afonda. Thank you, Luke. Thank you, Eloisa. This has been a really wonderful conversation. Look, what we've learned today is becoming a leader, it's not a single step. And to every coach in this room, you don't need a title to be a leader. So again, I thank you for your time. Thank you for joining us here at Coach 360, and look forward to our next conversation.